LGIM Protoss player, the All Killer. It is
LGIM YongHwa.
He became really famous because he all-killed twice in the GSTL. It was very impressive. That was in 2012 when it was even harder to get an all-kill in this season. But quite often in the individual league, he falls a little bit short of expectations.
Yep, he is up against Lacrosse to the bottom left in the blue from the team SK Telecom T1. He is
SK Telecom T1, Rain.
Great player.
Absolutely, really making a splash last year.
You know, I actually have to say that I think what YongHwa is most famous for, ignoring the 2 all-kills that he got, is being hyped up by Atosis.
Yes, that's absolutely the case. I don't think anyone would argue against that.
But he's still a very tough opponent to face, so not trying to take anything away from the guy. He's a very solid Protoss player. Rain definitely a bit more known and has more exposure in general with the performance that we saw when he transitioned over to StarCraft 2. His former ID was by Sun.
Yes. Which is kind of funny because it reminds me of the big fat animal, the bison.
Yeah, at the beginning we didn't really know if he will call himself Bison, right?
Yeah.
I remember that. That was right at the beginning. It was back in August 2012 when we had the first qualifier, the WCS qualifier back then in Korea. That was when all those players suddenly emerged.
Yeah, just remind me of M. Bison from Street Fighter a little bit. We have 2 and 2 in the gases here of YongHwa, and Rain is going to be able to scout this if he looks very carefully with his eyes here. It's a little bit harder to see that, but now we can see that the 3rd one has been added. No scout whatsoever for YongHwa. He's playing blind here.
Yeah. This also means that he has a few more resources than his opponent, and especially in a mirror matchup and PvP, on top of all of that, is one of those scenarios where even a second or 2 can change the entire game, always depending on what kind of strategy you choose. But if you are trying to hit very clutch timings, having a few more resources, even just 1 additional probe can help you a lot.
Yeah. Mothership Core comes out for YongHwa with some of those extra resources he has at his disposal. So this is going to be a very safe way for him to do a lot of things. Probably not going to be scouting with that, although he does send it across to the right. You know, scouting with this this late in the game on a map this big is just not a good idea because you're probably going to get that picked off by stalkers if there's multiple stalkers on the map, but he's still going to go for it. He doesn't know which direction Rain's probe came from.
At the same time, we have YongHwa taking his expansion first, just a tiny little bit ahead of Rain, and he's now trying to find out where exactly the SKT1 Protoss player spawned on the map. The Mothership Core going to the top right, and Stalker and Probe are very active on the map here.
Looks like first shot goes to Rain, so YongHwa not able to stick around here. He doesn't see the Nexus either. This is really important that he doesn't know that. And he's going to have to play defensively a little bit as a result. Robotics is already on the way.
Yeah, Robo against Stargate.
The question is, what type of Stargate is this going to be? Because there's so many different ways he can use this.
Exactly. You can always start with the Oracle here. Can try to be very aggressive, try to take down your opponent's mineral line. Of course, Void Rays, for example, are so great against Stalkers these days with the overcharge, with the prismatic alignment.
Yeah.
So you can do quite a bit with them.
And even Phoenixes are quite popular in PvP. Usually not off of an expand like this, but would not surprise me if we saw a few Phoenixes coming out to get some scouting information and also do some probe harassment.
Especially in Rings of Liberty, we've seen a lot of Phoenix openings in Protoss versus Protoss. Was one of the builds that Creator was very famous for playing, so a very strong opening. And you can already see that Rain is playing this quite defensive. We have him with a double sentry at the ramp, so there's the Phoenix play. This is very Wings of Liberty-esque what we have here.
Yeah.
It reminds me, it's basically exactly the build that Creator played.
Yeah, it's basically Wings of Liberty plus Mothership Core plus Nexus.
Yep.
Just a delayed Phoenix play coming out. They both hallucinate Scout here, and the hallucination Scout for Rain is going to arrive first. He sees everything. PvP is just like this now. It's impossible to hide what you're doing in the mid-game because there's too much hallucination scouts coming in. You can't stop it.
Exactly. The change from Wings of Liberty to Heart of the Swarm was that you don't need the extra upgrade anymore to use a hallucination. The sentries can now use it right away, so scouting is so much easier for Protoss.
YongHwa sees Rain's Phoenix is real now and sees the Stargate as well, so he's probably going to go into Charge Zealot here. He starts the Twilight Council. He could go Blink, but since the Phoenix count is still going to be pretty low, it's not absolutely necessary for him to do that.
Exactly. In Wings of Liberty, there were so many things that he could do with the Phoenix opening. In the beginning, it was all about taking down a few Harvesters and picking them up. But then later on, what he could always do is follow it up with additional gateways, move in, try to pick up the sand base as fast as possible, and then move in with the gateway units. So there are a lot of options how you can play it.
Blink, he starts Blink. That's how he wants to do this. A little bit surprising to me, but it's going to allow him a little bit more flexibility with defending with Stalkers against the Phoenixes. He does have a full energy Mothership Core to work with as well.
Here comes the Void Ray, and we also have a Robotics being built. In regards to Harvesters, they are both still very, very even. Additional Scout is now moving in. With the Robotics, of course, this is one of the advantages that YongHwa has.
Rain is very cleverly baiting out the Stalkers and going in and killing probes. He kills a few probes at the natural now. You guys are not seeing it, but he killed quite a few probes there while the units were baited away by the hallucination, so a nice little trick.
Yeah, Blink is not done just yet, so he can't rely on Blink to be very mobile with his Stalkers. He has to be very careful of how he sets up his defense in the main base. Rain is always trying to find an opening to take down additional Harvesters, and if you do well and your Harvester count is way ahead of your opponent, you will get the better lead into the late game.
Force a Photon Overcharge here with the Mothership Core to save the Mothership Core. He does not hide his Void Rays, Rain that is. He shows them right to the Observer, and since the Robotics is so late for Rain, he couldn't kill the Observer. I don't think he knows it's there because he's not even making one. He starts an Immortal instead, so he's showing everything to YongHwa right now.
I'm pretty sure that he has no idea that there is an Observer in his main base. He would have done something about it a bit earlier. As he said, another Observer for him to scout that would have been probably the first thing to do here. YongHwa is now, with the Twilight Council that he already has, heading into the Templar Archive, which will give him access, of course, to Archons.
This is a bit weird what YongHwa is doing. He knows there's Immortals, he's already seen it. He also knows there's Void Rays, which are great against Stalkers now. So, him committing to an attack over here is a little bit strange. Mothership Core goes down meanwhile, but over on the other side of the map, even with Blink, it's hard to engage against this Void Ray composition with Immortals. I think this is a terrible idea.
Void Ray is just so awesome with the prismatic alignment against Stalkers, and this is exactly what Rain uses to keep YongHwa at bay here. Great force fields too, was waiting until the Blink was already used, wasn't cooldown, and then the force fields go down.
Yeah, and he didn't even have to use the prismatic alignment until the last second. He was like, if you commit and Blink in, then I'll use it, but otherwise I have my Immortals, I have my force fields, and I'm just going to wait. Nice catch here on the Phoenixes though by YongHwa.
Good Blink forward, that's exactly what he does, but gets only one.
Yeah, I think he could have actually gotten that second one.
I was a little bit hesitant there.
He's not too worried about only 2 Phoenixes at this point. Yeah, they can pick off a probe maybe, but not much else, and he will... Oh!
Just doesn't get the second Blink in, it's still in cooldown. And he takes down one of the pylons, but yeah, that's definitely a bit of an issue here. Now we have, on the other hand, Rain heading straight into the Colossi count. We have him with the range upgrade being research and the +1 attack. Great. Whereas on the other hand, we have YongHwa not even with a Forge.
And we're going to see YongHwa go into Charge Zealot Archon, it looks like here. He started some Templar. Hasn't made the Archon just yet, so you can use feedback on the Phoenixes if they come too near. But I think he really is just going to make those into Archons. He has to be careful, though, about this push that's coming out here. The army composition at this moment in time is much better for Rain.
Yeah, it definitely is, especially with those Void Rays. They just melt Stalkers away. It's crazy. And this all lines up quite well for the SKT1 player. He's trying to hit this third base while taking his own third.
Yeah, and this is really, really stressful for YongHwa at this moment in time, trying to hold this third base. And Rain does not commit.
Rain is also ahead in the overall supply. He's at 120 against 100. And let's just keep in mind that for the time being, we have him with an upgrade lead 2B. He's also in a position where he, as you said, has just the better composition. He's catching up with YongHwa in tech fast.
Rain has Colossi coming out, and he's tricked his opponent into heavily going into Archons. And not even Charge Zealot Archon, just Archon Stalker to deal with the Void Rays, because Void Rays don't do bonus damage to the Archons. But Colossi are going to be the next step here, and Rain is just one step ahead as a result.
The one advantage that, of course, YongHwa had is that force fields don't do anything against him anymore because of the Archons. And Rain is still affected by them, up to the point where he has the Colossi in the game.
This is really cool. He's hiding Stargates. He's going to switch into his own surprise Void Rays here because he expects the Colossus transition. He's already seen it now with his Observer. And he started this right after he saw the Colossi with his Observer. So now he can just go into double Void Ray production here, even use Chrono Boost on those and hide them. He's only going to show them at the last second.
Okay, seriously, that is super, super sexy. I like that. Taking the gamble right side of the map, double hidden proxy. I love it.
And he's going to start it pretty soon. He's got the... he has a Phoenix on the way. Well, this is not what I expected to see at all. He's going to go into Phoenixes. I thought he was going to try to switch in the Void Rays to surprise him and kill his Colossus heavy army.
Yeah, but even if he heads in with the Phoenixes and blindsides him, just think about it, there will be so many Colossi. What Rain is doing here is heavily relying on a Colossi composition, and if he has like 5, 6, 7, 8 of them, and suddenly there are 10 Phoenixes just swooping in from the side, then Rain wouldn't even know what hit him.
Exactly. He can also come in with that first wave and take out a ton of probes. He can do a probe massacre. I really like that Rain is scouting heavily here. He's also dropping a bunch of forward pylons to be aggressive. This is, of course, going to be killed by YongHwa, but it also baits the units out.
Yeah, forward pylon's been taken out. Did you see the second one? No, he didn't.
No, just
yeah,
barely, it looks like it.
Look at those Phoenixes. Well, oh my god, this is such a beautiful trap. All those Colossi, they have no idea. They are completely oblivious.
Yeah, right now, talking about anti-air, we have, for Rain, 1 Stalker, 1 Archon, and 1 Phoenix. And he has 2 Sentries, I guess, yeah, and he has 3 Void Rays, but that's not going to be good against Phoenixes.
I love this so much. It's brilliant. We have 180 supply against 160 resources piling up for YongHwa here. He's chrono boosting the hell out of those 2 gateways.
Yeah. Oh, this is YongHwa playing a risky trap here, and it is going to pay off. I can't see this not working unless he stacks up his Phoenixes against the Archon, and he shows them now. Here they come. Surprise!
And he has to move it now. He has to do something. Look at all those. If he can take out all of those Colossi, that would be so brilliant for him.
He doesn't commit, though, interestingly enough. With his Phoenixes, he sees with his Observer what's over here. And he doesn't
right
fight.
side is being attacked. Has 1 Zealot there. Zealot's been taken out, and now Rain knows what's up. And he's moving out immediately. He just hopes that the Phoenix count is not high enough to kill him.
He's maxed out, so he can't switch his composition in any way. It's too late to do that, so he's going to try to do the damage he can with his Colossi before the Phoenix is coming. The Phoenix is a bit slow here. Now they're coming through.
And that should be enough. He just needs to take those Archons out. The Archons, that's the point where it gets dangerous.
Yeah. He needs to make sure his Phoenix don't stack up against that.
And here we go. He's taking down the first few Colossi. One of them immediately being focused here. 1 down, the second one being attacked, but they die very slowly.
Yeah, Rain is still massively ahead in supply. Once the Archons fade, though, that's going to be the problem where he doesn't have anti-air anymore.
The ground army is melting away for YongHwa. A cute idea here, but it doesn't really look like it's going to do too much.
Yeah,
Rain
the Warfare of Stalkers is too much.
GG.
That was